we have quorum. So I am going to start today's meeting, call it to order at 3:03. And I will start with the land acknowledgement and ancestral recognition. Before we begin, we believe it's important to open our meeting by acknowledging the indigenous land that we share. Pasadena City College is a learning community within the indigenous homelands of people who have been known as the Gabrielinos, band of Mission Indians of the Shi'i, Kuenga village and Quiche Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gather. We honor all Indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free enslaved labor of Black people. We share these acknowledgements to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism. Ashe. Okay. Moving forward, Professor Walker, do we have any public comment?
I did not receive any public comment.
Okay, thank you. So our minutes from our last meeting were in your board packet on board docs. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Jose Castanon, is that approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Margaret, is that you? Is that your second? I don't see you, so I would need a verbal response.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Ken Simon, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to move to make a correction to the headings in the minutes. The correction would be that item G should be old business instead of new business, and item H should be information item instead of proposed future agenda item.
Okay, we'll make that correction. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns about the minutes? Okay, then can we, can we amend the motion to state that we approve with corrections? And I think, Jose, you were the one who made the original motion.
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Margaret, are you still seconding?
Yes.
Okay. If there are no other concerns or questions, I'd like to approve the minutes by unanimous consent. No objections? Seeing none, the motion passes and the minutes are approved. Okay, and now we have constituency reports. Do we have a representative? Oh, I see you, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi
Go ahead
there.
for FA.
How y'all doing? Not much to report. We have a general meeting coming up next Thursday. Currently, we have been discussing the return to campus in the spring with the district, and we're trying to hammer out an MOU for that. We've been dealing with the ESL English transfers, and that seems to be moving forward. And we have secured a couple additional rights. That's basically all covered under what they have to do is all basically covered under the Ed Code. And we have we've secured a few things that the district doesn't have to do, like particularly one of them is that the fact that if ESL does come back, the ESL instructors can transfer back without going through the whole process. because otherwise it would have been considered a new hire into the area. And that is about it.
Okay, are
That's
there
all.
any questions for Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark. We appreciate you being here. Okay, do we have a representative for the adjunct faculty? Professor Constantine.
Yes, we do. Hi, everyone. Good to see everyone. Yes, so the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee did get a chance to meet last week. We did discuss the AP 7210 that we will be bringing to the Senate today for further discussion. So we were just asking our fellow senators to be open as much as possible as we push towards diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you so much.
Any questions or comments for Professor Constantine regarding adjunct faculty? Okay, thank you, Professor Constantine. Next, Classified Senate. Is there a representative for the Classified Senate?
Yes, thanks for having me, Dr. Gina Lopez. So what we're doing some professional development activities. We just finished a Unleash Your Inner workshop facilitator event, which is helping a lot of our classified associates to host workshops during our professional development days. And we're trying to gear them towards workshops towards our facilities folks. They've just historically been underrepresented under the classified body, and we're trying to put the focus on them, and we're trying to plan a special professional development day for facilities folks, just because they have 3 different shifts: early morning, midday, and a late evening shift, just to be inclusive. And also to cater opportunities that are specific to them, to their departments. That's pretty much it. We just filled a few hiring recruitment committees: admin assistant 1 for the PD office, and intermediate clerk 1 for the VAMS department. And we're still looking for folks to fill for intermediate clerk 2 for student services. So if you know of any classifieds that want to serve on hiring committees, please send them our way. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Classified Senate? Thank you, Mary. Appreciate you being here. Okay, next, Associated Students. I think I saw Emmanuel.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm here on behalf of Eugene Sung, our VP of Academic Affairs. And I apologize, well, she apologizes for being late. She will be here in about 20 minutes. But she wanted me to report on some of what we've been doing with AS. Currently, Student Services has been working to present Finals Relaxation Week, and that will be November 29th to the 1st of December. We actually just approved the budget for that this morning. And there's also Holiday Angels coming up, and that will be on the 10th of December, which as well, we approved the budget for that. We're definitely also trying to find ways to better promote some of our events happening. I now know that Eugene, also Felicia's Wee, and Natalie Guzman, members of the board, have been able to get access into PCC's events calendar, where we're able to upload some of our events and any other events we see students trying to promote, as we aim to inform students. Also, we're currently working to fill in an expected vacancy for our VP of Communications. Philly will be leaving us soon, and we're trying to anticipate that as well. And aside from that, she wanted to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Are there any questions for the Associated Students? Okay, thank you so much for being here. Next, we have the Administration Management Association. I see Dean Cobb. Dr. Cobb, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be able to be here today. So last week, one of the really exciting things that I felt was exciting was we had Dr. Sumi Pindakar come to workshop the leadership team on issues of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And specifically, we did some social group identity exploration, personal social group identity exploration, as well as how that impacts us in relationship to power and privilege in our roles. And also, as well as we also explored anti-racism in practice and policy related to management and leadership. So it was really, really exceptional. We really could have gone all day with it because I feel like we just, we all got really engaged. So that was really, I was very pleased with that. And then most of us, or at least half of us, then followed up with the abolitionist allyship series from Dr. Carrie Bolin that day. So it was a really incredible day. Also, one of the most fun things I did last week, and I think managers, faculty, staff, and students did last week, was the peer resource team season of giving event for our students, in which folks came together to create bags for 250 students here. For me, it was a very rewarding experience because I saw faculty I haven't seen for a year, and faculty brought classes and folks to help. And it was really, I think, the community building kind of event we hoped it would be. So that was a big thing. One last thing is, of course, like everybody else, we're working on APs and BP review, as well as working with folks on the executive team on development of leadership, of professional development for our leadership team and what that looks like moving forward. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions for Dr. Cobb and Management Association? Okay, thank you, Dr. Cobb. Okay, next are our Senate officer reports. Starting with me, I'm going to make it very brief as we have a full calendar. I've wanted to remind all faculty that Professional Development Day is the Friday before we come back in the spring. It is Friday, January 7th. Remember, there's no winter intersession, so we start a lot earlier. So I just wanted to remind you of that. I also wanted to remind you that today is our last meeting of the semester. Thank you, personally, thank you for helping me through this semester. And also, I wanted to let everyone know that we will be meeting in person in the spring. We'll be meeting in the Krevling Lounge. There is some way around that. You can meet from your office at PCC, but according to Brown Act, you would need to post your location if you're going to meet remotely. And our way around that, so that you don't have to use your personal address, is to meet from your office at PCC, and this is the address that we can use. So otherwise, we will be meeting in the Krevling at 3 o'clock. We've already reserved the space, and I see questions. Lyman, go ahead.
Does anyone know when we should be expecting emails about registering for PD Day? Because I haven't seen anything yet, so.
I don't know that. I know that they just finished the call, or the deadline just passed for the call for proposals for people to present. But I haven't seen that. Ken, don't want to put you on the spot, but do you know anything as our chair for faculty development?
Well, the Flex Committee is working on that. I don't have their timeline, but I know that you're right. Since the deadline just passed, I'm guessing they're filling the slots of the schedule right now, and I would anticipate seeing an invitation within the next couple of weeks. But that's my own guess based on where I know they were.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me put you on the spot too, Ken. I appreciate it. Okay, are there any other questions or comments for me for my president's report? Awesome. Next, we will have Dr. Jaramillo, Vice President.
Hi, everyone. So as always, I have the request for people to be willing to serve on hiring committees. I've been sending out notices and not getting large responses. So if you could encourage faculty members to participate, that would be great. And we have one position that needs representation. We need 2 faculty members for the hiring committee for the intermediate clerk 1 FAMS position. Now, when we're doing these committees, the faculty members have to be outside of the VP of which this position is over. So I think that the faculty that would meet that are the non-instructional counseling faculty. So if you guys could recommend 2 faculty members and email me them, we could get 2 representatives on this hiring committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaramillo. Are there any questions for Veronica? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward with our secretary's report. Professor Armia Walker.
I have problems unmuting, sorry. I have no report, but I'm glad to see everyone.
Thank you, Professor Walker. Next, we have Sheila Rose, Professor Sheila Rose.
Hello, everyone. So nice to see you all here. So as always, I have updates on our balances and a little more exciting news today. We have an increase of $229 in our savings account, which is a result of donations that are made by senators and other faculty at large. Please do remind your faculty about the donate button on the Academic Senate website. And that is the only change. So our total overall balance is currently $23,474.24. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rose. Our next item is item G. We have no old business. So we'll move on to item H, which is our new business, and we will discuss AP and BP 4250, our first read. And Professor Rose, you are up again.
Thank you, everyone. Let me find the BP, which we will start with. So just a reminder for those of you who were not at our previous Senate meeting when we discussed AP 4230, we have formed a subcommittee of the Student Success Committee that is using our equity-minded guiding questions for policy review to revise all existing BP's board policies and AP's administrative procedures that impact students using an equity lens. And so we are bringing forward the second round of BPs and APs that the subcommittee has had an opportunity to revise. So BP 4250 is academic probation, dismissal, and readmission to the college. The main changes that we made are to reword the policy with a student audience in mind, using language that is clear for students to understand. We do have a student on our committee who helps us make the decisions about how to revise the language. Based on Jillian Russo's comments, we also decided to write out the meanings of a lot of the terminology that we use, such as W, withdrawal, I, incomplete, NC for no credit, NP for no pass, also excused withdrawals, just so not assuming that students already know what this language is. The other big changes were changing it from 2 to 3 consecutive semesters that students would have a 1.75 GPA before they were subject to dismissal from the college. And I believe those were the major changes to the BP. Are there any questions about the board policy before I move on to the administrative procedure that accompanies it? Okay, I think John.
Okay, John, go ahead.
Yeah. Sheila, thank you for the changes. I like everything you've done here. I was a little bit confused on the bottom of the first page of the BP, where it talks about how to get off academic probation. And so the student needs to have a 2.0 GPA. And is that for one semester after coming back, or is that like overall GPA? Second to last paragraph there.
Yep, I see that, John. And I think my understanding is that they just need it for one semester, but I do agree that that is not 100% clear. So I will double check with my counseling friends and make sure that that language gets clarified.
And then the second thing is, this kind of overlaps with the AP. So there's now a discrepancy between the 3-semester requirement versus 2. Is that, do you know what I mean in terms of for dismissal? Before it was only 2 semesters and you changed it to 3. So does that now need to be changed in the AP?
Yes, if we didn't catch that, then I will make sure we do. Thank you. Great. Any other questions about the BP?
Jose, go ahead.
Why was it changed from 2 to 3?
I think when we're looking at an equity lens, when we consider students' circumstances, that it would be reasonable that a student could be having a health or economic crisis for 2 semesters that wouldn't necessarily establish a pattern. However, if it goes past a year, then it is a better indicator that it's not a temporary situation, but something that the student needs to perhaps stop out and address before returning and taking classes.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Jose.
Brian?
Grade point averages are 3 significant figures as far as I understand. So I would encourage that to be reflected in the document here, rather than a 2.0, make it a 2.00. Because a 1.95 versus a 1.94, they're different in that regard. And if it's on their transcript to 3 significant figures, it should be 3 significant figures on this document as well.
Great. Thank you. I love the interdisciplinary conversation. Any other questions or comments about the BP? Wonderful. Thank you so much for your feedback. That's incredibly helpful. Let me now find the AP.
Remember, everyone, this is a first read.
Yes, so please do bring this to your constituents who you're representing, get more feedback for us before we finalize it. Okay, so here is the AP 4250 on probation. And you can see that the first major change is that we have eliminated disqualification and readmission. That will be our next agenda item, is that we have decided to separate the 2 processes for probation and disqualification readmission into 2 separate APs. We don't necessarily need to have students who are on probation already being reminded that dismissal is a possibility, right? Trying to keep it positive that they will soon get off probation and they will never have to know that that could happen. Again, we decided to clarify the language, the different stages of probation, and also clarifying academic probation versus progress probation, which is the number of units completed. So we, in the previous version, we were muddling up the different kinds of probation. So it was often unclear if we were talking about academic probation or progress probation at any given point. The other major change that we put in here, other than taking out disqualification and dismissal, is also removing disciplinary probation for unsatisfactory citizenship. There is another administrative procedure, 5500 Standards of Student Conduct, that deals with disciplinary probation. We also didn't like the language of unsatisfactory citizenship, so we are merely pointing students to that other AP and separating discipline from academic and progress probation. Any questions about AP 4250 at this time? Or suggestions? I see Tom.
Colleen?
Hi, I think this is awesome. So thank you for doing this. I really like the 3-semester concept, which is great because I can see why students would be really benefiting from it. I'm wondering though, so I'm thinking about how I explain probation to students right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. So at this point, it's probation stage 1. If they continue, probation stage 2. And then if they continue on, it's usually dismissal. So now in the new AP, I think I saw probation stage 1, probation stage 2. Does that mean students will be staying at probation stage 2 for 2 semesters before dismissal? Or are we now creating probation stage 1, probation stage 2, probation stage 3, and then dismissal?
That's a great question. We didn't discuss that in our subcommittee. So we are meeting tomorrow, Tallene.
Okay.
So I will bring that back to them.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions regarding this AP?
And I see the request to put it in the chat. I'm just not good at multitasking. So as soon as I'm done having this conversation, I will put it in there.
It's also available in board docs. Just want to put that out there for everyone. And Dr. Francoso.
Hi, Sheila. This looks really, really great. I'm not sure where this comment, how it applies, but just within the Rising Scholars Network, which is kind of the California Community College's equivalent to Project Rebound and Underground Scholars, there's been dialogue around when we talk about academic probation or progress probation, that the word probation can be a very triggering word for formerly incarcerated, system impacted folks, and relays heavily upon like carceral systems. So I know there's been dialogue trying to figure out what alternative or other words we can use instead of probation. So I'm just wondering if this committee is thinking about renaming that process in some way.
Yes, Anthony, absolutely. I could not agree more. I think that we felt a little limited in our ability to change that language because of Title V and Ed Code. So it almost has to come, the changes have to come from the top before we are able to adopt new language, because we can't violate Title V or Ed Code or have language that's different. And, I would call on anyone from the administration, Dr. Olivo, if you have heard anything at higher levels about changing this language.
Before you respond, I'm sorry, before you respond, Dr. Olivo, we're actually out of time on this. Can someone make a motion to extend the time? Okay, I see Professor Castellan. And is that a second, Ken Simon? Awesome. Is there any discussion? Okay, question, comments, or concern? Otherwise, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Seeing none, we have extended the time by 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. Professor Castellan, by 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Olivo, you have the floor.
Thank you. So we could localize the language in our own local policy and then just make reference to the Title V sections of the Ed Code, which I listed in the chat. So I would be in favor of that. And I think it would still be within model policy. And we'd probably do a, really helpful action for other colleges to follow.
Dr. Olivo, have you heard of suggestions for alternative language that would?
I would say academic progress.
Great. I will take that to the committee tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have another question. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering what is the college's responsibility when a student is on probation? Like, does the college need to reach out to the student a certain number of times during that probationary semester to help get the student back on track? And if so, does that requirement by the college need to be in these documents at all?
I am going to defer to my counseling colleagues to answer that question. So Gina, Armia, Tallene, do any of you know more about probation than I do?
I know from an institutional perspective, but this is your meeting. So if you need me to answer, Dr. Lopez.
I'm going to go with Tallene.
I can speak to FYE, first year experience, because I've been working with that population for the past couple terms. At the end or at the beginning of the semester, we get a list of students that are part of FYE, which it's not a tiny program. It's huge. Think about every new to college first year student. So we're talking thousands. And so the counselors and success coaches, we reach out to them and try and book them, depending on the situation, 15-minute or 45-minute appointments. We get a list that differs between progress, academic, because they are a little different situations. And in the last couple terms, I was able to help students get off of academic probation with just a petition for EW. So we were able to work with them that way. So that's reaching out. I can speak to FYE since I haven't been in general in a while. So if anyone else, Miriam or Lori, if you want to talk about that, but that's the approach for FYE. We reach out through the help of success coaches. So lots of notification through text and their Canvas pages and email. So lots of different things.
Okay, did anyone else want to respond to this?
I can just globally respond to, and what Dr. Olivo put in the chat regarding, we do send students notifications once, all students get a notification once their standing has been calculated after grades post every term. And within that, we provide them with the intervention instructions based on programs that they are with. So as Tallene was mentioning, the FYE students get a specific message about who to contact in FYE. EOPS students get the same, and so on. So we are obligated to notify them, and we go a step further for more follow-up and follow-through.
Thank you, Dr. Altunji and Dr. Olivo. Are there any additional questions regarding this AP? Seeing none, thank you, Sheila Rose. Don't go away though, because you have the next item, which is AP 4255. This is our first read.
Great. I'm just pulling it up now. Thank you. Okay, and I'll share my screen. So this is a new AP that is separating out disqualification and readmission. And so you can see there's no striking out at the beginning because this is new language. So the first thing that we did was change the term disqualification to dismissal because it was confusing. Sometimes we were using one, sometimes using the other, and it suggested that these were two separate processes, but there's just dismissal and then hopefully readmission. Again, we changed the language, so we're not saying the student will be subject, taking out a lot of the legalese and making it more understandable, spelling out terms, especially the first time they are used, adding in definitions of some of the language that we use that we might understand internally, but that students might not be as familiar with. We do clarify the notification process. It said letter previously, which was very outdated since all of this is done online now. And that's basically it for the changes to the new AP on 4255. For clarity, this administrative procedure also is housed under the board policy 4250. We did not create a new board policy 4255. So questions or suggestions for AP 4255?
Okay, I'm seeing none. So thank you, Sheila Rose. We appreciate you spelling that out for us, or those APs to us.
Okay, thank you. And I will also make sure that we look at the language about probation in AP 4255 when we meet tomorrow. So thank you, Dr. Francoso, for bringing that up.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, on to item number 3, which is AP 7210, Section 3. This is our first read. And Dr. Bernardo, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. I was just opening the document that I sent in for first read and realizing that I had made an error in including the sections like the A, like 3A, 3B. So with that said, let me pull up the actual language of AP 7210. I'm sorry, 7120. Am I allowed to share screen?
Dr. Bernardo, we have it as 7210. That's what we were given.
I'm sorry, no, I was looking at the wrong section. That's okay. My fault. Yes. So yes, 7210. Section 3. Okay, so I'm one of the new co-chairs of the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee, and along with Professor Trady Bodish, and we were talking about the continual need for people to serve on the hiring committees. I believe we were just had an announcement to please encourage more faculty to volunteer for and serve on hiring committees. So we as adjuncts decided that it would probably be help to the tenured faculty as well as give us a chance to serve on these hiring committees if we change the language to say that adjuncts also may serve on the hiring committee. I'm going to stop sharing and go to the document that I went in. So, okay. So the first thing I did was recopy and paste, but not with the, apparently not with the subsections. But here's the revised language. And to be inclusive of all faculty. And so the crossouts are, because right now it just says full-time faculty, only tenured or tenured track may serve except in unusual circumstances. And so not even the full-time faculty who are not tenure track may serve. So in order to better align ourselves with the community colleges around the state of California, several of which do include adjunct faculty on hiring committees and or do not specify that adjuncts may serve or only full-time tenured faculty may serve. We took the language and we crossed things out to make things more inclusive. And so this is just the markup from the language that was or currently is to what we are suggesting. And so Instead of, committees shall be reelected every 2 years, committees shall be reelected or reformed as needed when an opening arises, so that the same people aren't necessarily serving on the same hiring committee for an extended period of time. And so that obviously is a huge time commitment, but to also let other people participate in the process, they would be reformed as needed. And it's just setting out the committee. It says the division area dean must serve as chair, and just changed it a little bit. The division dean may select another member of the hiring committee to act as chair. And the language that we put in was that non-tenured and adjunct faculty who have worked at the college for at least 3 consecutive years may serve on any hiring committee as requested by the faculty member or administration, and or is qualified to do so because of expertise in that particular field. With the clause here that positions to which a faculty member has applied or plans to apply, like if an adjunct is applying to a full-time position, they may not also serve on the hiring committee that would fill that position. So that was just the sort of to remove some conflicts of interest there. So that would be sort of the gist of the first read, to be more inclusive and to be more in alignment with the other community colleges in at least Southern California that we were able to find.
Okay, are there any questions or comments for Dr. Bernardo? Hold on. Okay, Dr. Jaramillo.
I think you're muted.
Sorry, I just didn't want to be misquoted. Our faculty hiring, we do not have problems getting full-timers to be on faculty hiring. It is classified hiring that we have problems getting full-timers to be on. Generally, faculty hiring, full-timers will put themselves out there to be on those hiring committees. So just want to make that clear.
Thank you, Dr. Jaramillo. Next, we have Professor Chafee.
Hi. Does historically underrepresented groups have a specific definition?
I believe the college does define what historically underrepresented groups.
Okay, so that is defined somewhere.
We didn't recapitulate it here. Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering about that. Cool, thanks.
Okay, and we actually are out of time for this. I need a motion to extend by 5 minutes. Do I have a motion? I see a lot of hands, so who was that?
I will motion Tyberg.
Thank you, John Tyberg. And I saw your hand, Susan Bauer, as a second.
I'll second.
Thank you so much. Are there any discussion on this? Okay, then can we approve? If there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. If there are any objections, then I'm going to need you to say so, because I have a lot of hands up. Okay, seeing and hearing no objections, we are going to extend this item by unanimous consent. So 5 more minutes, Professor Walker. Next, I have Professor Johansson.
Yes, I'm just wondering, will adjunct faculty be compensated for being on hiring committees, or do they have to do those hours for free?
I believe that is a separate question that is not included in this particular AP. So I don't believe we have gotten to that stage of it yet. And so we would probably have to separately come up with what we believe is fair and then vote on that.
Okay, and next we have Professor Tyberg.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if my question is, I have 2 questions. The first one, I hope it's not irrelevant. I was just wondering in this AP, at the very beginning, it says that the full-time faculty of each division shall use a democratic process to elect faculty members to serve on the division's hiring committees. How come then we usually are electing the hiring committees here in the Senate? rather than the division?
I don't have the answer for that. I'm sorry. Does anyone else have the answer?
Susan.
Can I answer?
Yes, Dr. Jaramillo.
We don't elect for faculty hiring committees here. We approve them because they're part of the Senate, but generally we're given names for the faculty hiring by the divisions. But just to comment, I'm this this AP policy, I'm not sure it's the most recent that's on board docs that we were looking at last year in Senate.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, I'm a little bit concerned about the stipulation that no faculty can serve more than 2 semesters. I was just worried that, what if there were not enough faculty to abide by that rule, that a faculty member can't serve for more than 2 semesters?
I believe we decided to suggest that so that it wouldn't be the same people on the hiring committees for a particular department for an extended period of time, in case several positions came up, and then it's always the same people. And if a person applies more than once, they may have the same people as before, and there may be some kind of a bias against that. So we were just thinking that to give people a break also. And if adjunct faculty are serving and full-time non-tenured faculty are serving, then there should be plenty of people to go around.
Okay, Professor Wilbur.
Yeah, I agree with that point that John Tyberg meant. If you have a small department that's hiring several new positions, you might need faculty to serve for more than 2 semesters. I'm not sure that would pass muster. That would be something that I would vote for. But additionally, what are the other schools that allow this?
North Orange Community College District and San Diego Community College District are just 2 of the ones that we found. Also Orange Coast, but the process online was a little bit odd, but they did not specify that only tenured or full-time faculty may serve.
Okay, and Professor Indoor.
I was confused about the paragraph which starts out positions to which a faculty member has applied. I read it 4 times and I couldn't figure out the part about shall be excluded for being able to and elected to serve on. And I just thought maybe it could be moved around a bit so that an English teacher could understand it.
Yes, we can definitely look at clarifying the language. The essence of it was that if a faculty member is planning to apply or has applied for a particular position, they are not also then able to serve on the hiring committee tasked to fill that position.
Right. So I think what could be excluded from being able to serve on the same hiring committee instead of from being able to and elected to.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Okay, and we again are out of time on this item. We have one more time that we can extend by 5 minutes, but I would need to entertain a motion. Okay, I saw Ken Simon's hand first, and Professor Constantine, I saw your hand as a second. Okay, if there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. If there are objections, you would need to say so. Hearing none, seeing none, we are approved for 5 more minutes. Next up is Susan Bauer.
Hi, I just wanted to bring up that last spring, several of us who are here right now had served on a subcommittee of the Academic Senate to update this very AP 7210. That was approved. I'm not sure what happened to it after we approved it. So as Veronica Dr. Jaramillo had mentioned earlier, we may want to make sure that we're voting on an update for the proper update. I'm not sure what happened to that, but I think we're discussing some things that our academic senate body has already approved that have been changed.
Okay, if there are records of that, because I do believe we were discussing it at some point, but I don't know what happened to that final language. So when we were looking at it, I just had to take what was on the board docs.
Okay, next we have Professor Constantine.
Yes, hi, everyone. Just wanted to chime in the discussion. And I want to tell my fellow colleagues that this is really an opportunity for us to focus on inclusion. You know, as adjunct faculty, we feel like we contribute so much to the institution. And I think this is an area in which we can prove to adjunct faculty that, yes, your voice matters. We want you part of the process. And this is not going to be a factor. If it is passed, I don't suspect that we'll have all these adjunct faculty who are now suddenly interested in serving on hiring committees. I think it's going to be a small percentage, but that small percentage is going to speak a lot in terms of our push for inclusion. And I also want to mention that we have a deaf committee member in our Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee, and she was very much in support of ensuring that adjunct faculty are included in the hiring process. So I just want to give a voice to her as well. And I want my colleagues, when you take it back to your constituents, you know, really try to have a detailed discussion about what inclusion means. Because as we're trying to change academia within the Senate, I think this is a great opportunity to showcase to the adjunct faculty that we appreciate their service and we want to include them in decision-making processes. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Ken Simon.
Thank you. I'd like to know whether this goes beyond the scope of this or whether this is going to be a problem. How do we reconcile the idea that the division uses a democratic process to elect faculty members to serve and the idea that the committee should consist of or have at least two voting members from historically underrepresented groups? How can the voting process reconcile with this requirement? Is that something this has to cover?
So I believe that one of the things that we were discussing last year with 7210 was the inclusion of more historically underrepresented faculty on these committees. And I believe that that vote was voted down by very narrowly by just one vote to include more. And so in this process, we would not only take into account adjunct faculty, but also faculty of who have not been able to participate as fully before, such as people who have disabilities or people from minority ethnic groups. And if we need to adjust the language so that we don't make it so black and white that, you know, this must happen, or to make it more that this is much preferred, then I would be okay with that as well.
Okay, are there any additional questions for Dr. Bernardo? This is, again, our first read. Okay, Sylvia, I see your hand up.
Hi, everyone. Well, mine was more of a comment, and I was going back to the notion of diversity and the discussions that we had last year. And also, I do understand the point of having faculty member not to serve them more than 2 semesters without a break, and the fact that some positions get offered, there is a certain process, a committee is formed, candidates get interviewed, and then maybe the position is rescinded, and then the position is offered again next year, and then again this committee that is try to hire it again have previously seen some of the applicants before. But at the same time, and I remember last year, a lot of the discussion was about putting excessive burden of our colleagues from the underrepresented communities. However, I think if it is a goal that the communities have representative of from underrepresented community colleagues, have representation of that, is it the fact that we need to put these 2 semesters and then the break, is it gonna be creating a problem for the notion of diversity in the community? Does it make sense what I'm trying to say?
Oh, yes, I
Because
understand. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because from the discussion that we had last year, we know that there is a minority of colleagues from these underrepresented communities.
Yes, so if anyone has alternate language that they would like to suggest, I'm willing to, and we are willing to discuss it in our group and take that into account to see if we can improve the language to, in order to both accomplish this, but not to make it an undue burden on anyone in particular.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Professor Indoor, we are out of time and out of extensions on this item. Thank you very much, Dr. Bernardo, for bringing this forward, and we will move on with the agenda. Okay, so I did not know if I'm missing it, but Susie, there you are, Susie. Okay, so we have Susie Ling up to talk about ethnic studies. Susie, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me. And thank you, Academic Senate, for all the work you do on behalf of our students and our community. I teach Asian American Studies, but I wanted to share with you today that my BA is actually in biology. I had hoped to be a cog in the struggle to enhance global food security. But then I migrated into ethnic studies because I was convinced that to truly impact and innovate, social justice is preeminent. I value STEM, but I'm trying to convince young people that ethnic studies must be a valued path. In 2020, Governor Newsom signed AB 1460, and it was a dream come true for me. It mandates that students must take 1 course in ethnic studies to graduate from a CSU. This is referred to as Area F. But who knew that my Prince Charming would require such high maintenance? Dr. Carrie Boland with IEDJ, the Institute of Equity, Diversity, and Justice, gave me 20% release time to serve as the Ethnic Studies Coordinator for PCC. First thing on the agenda was to work with disciplined faculty and our CNI committee to revise 14 existing ethnic studies CORs, course outline of record, to meet the CSU Area F guidelines. We did it, and we await approval from the state level, probably in April. But I'm also realizing that there is a lot more re-envisioning, and there is tedious work that always comes with real change. As we return to campus, PCC must revitalize our cultural diversity coordinator position and our cross-cultural center separately from the ethnic studies coordinator position. The ethnic studies coordinator and the ethnic studies faculty committee will focus on curriculum and clearing block pathways for our existing AAT in social justice studies. For example, did you know that the RAAT in social justice studies is not accepted as a pathway into the African American Studies or the Chicano Studies BA program at Cal State LA? A reminder for my friends, I just read in the current issue of Time magazine that 24 state legislatures have introduced bills aiming to restrict the teaching and training of race, racism, and gender issues. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns for Susie? Okay, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, wait, there's a, no, she said it now.
Okay. Next, we have an update from Dr. Cynthia Olivo for Student Services.
Hey, everyone. We are 8 days away from the transfer deadline for the UC and the CSU, and I just wanted to say we are open this Saturday. So if you find students that need support in filling out their transfer applications, you can send them to the Transfer Center website, as well as right here in the L building will be open. And please make a plug for students who think that they may not have the money in order to pay for their transfer applications. We have that covered for them. The PCC Foundation will pay for any student who does not have the funds and who does not qualify for a fee waiver. And then as of today, we still have 60 holiday meal kits available at the Lancer Pantry. So thank you all for getting the word out. We were able to have 140 students sign up for meal kits. We still have 60 remaining. So please let students know that are registered in your classes. And speaking of registration, so far we have 3,500 students who have registered for spring. And today is the day that all general students start to register. So up until this point, it's been students enrolled in special programs. And today we have our general students. So let's hope that our students come back to us. We are down in enrollment significantly. And so we need to make sure that our students find their way back. That being said, we were able to distribute federal CARES funds to 5,000 more students. So they'll be seeing their money when they log into Lancer Point. And we hope that this extra money that we're able to provide through the federal government helps to ease some of the issues that our students are experiencing and what's keeping them away from being enrolled in college. So thank you all so much. We're so grateful to all of you for your partnership in student services and helping us to help our students along this journey. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions? I see Professor Walker has a question. You have the floor.
Really quick, Dr. Olivo, where can students access those remaining 60 holiday meals?
I'll put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Olivo regarding student services? Thank you, Dr. Olivo. Okay, Dr. Ramirez has notified me that she is on an interview committee, but she will be here, but not until 4:30. So we're going to move her further down. Oh, you're here. Hi. I was waiting till 4:30. Scratch all that. Just kidding. April Fools. Next, we have Dr. Ramirez with our instructional update.
Sure. So a little bit about what Dr. Olivo said. Yes, registration started last week. It's going slow. So we're hoping that students will start to, look for Pasadena and start to register for classes. I know that our IT department is also working on those robot sweeps so that that happens earlier and we're not waiting until later in the registration period or when classes start to identify those fraudulent accounts. Also wanted to talk a little bit about the font. I think you mentioned that was something that was an item of discussion or people had questions about. So I wanted to share, if I can, the font that we received from the Chancellor's office. Remember, we get two numbers. We get what's called the advanced, and then we get what's called the P2 number or the final number. And our requirement is that we meet that obligation number, the lower of the two. So the font is determined based on current enrollments for next fall. If you look here, currently our fall 22 advanced number is 434. For this current fall, it was 405. We were slightly above it. And it has to do also with the number of faculty that we count, which includes late retirements, that we can count towards the current fall, which we may not be able to count towards the next fall. I think right now we're looking at hiring about 20 to count towards fall of 22, with the understanding that we'll likely not be at 434. As you can see, for fall 21, originally our number was 439, but because of the advance of 405, that was our commitment number. So we're not expecting to be at 434, probably closer to 425. I'm not sure if there's any specific questions about the fawn. Anybody?
Dr. Ramirez, can you stop sharing
Sure.
briefly? Thank you. Are there any questions for Dr. Ramirez regarding the fawn? Or
I believe, Dr. Lopez, you're meeting with President Andrew-Jonas tomorrow to finalize the list. And so hopefully we'll be able to send things out before we leave on break and let everybody know where exactly we're going to be hiring.
hopefully. And I don't see any questions, Dr. Ramirez, so thank you very much for your update. Or did you have more?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move along in our agenda. And we have a guided pathways update.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lopez. I'm going to turn it over to one of my wonderful Guided Pathways faculty leads, Brianna Brody, to give you all an update on what's been going on with Guided Pathways.
Thank you, Miriam. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for granting this space here. My name is Brianna Brody, and I am one of the new co-coordinators of Guided Pathways Career Communities, along with my lovely colleague, Renee Johansson. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes to update you all on the work that we've been doing. And so first off, we've continued our work with career and major dig meetings with our partners at UCLA, Davis Vo and Cecilia Rios Aguilar. And they've been successful in terms of participation, and we'd like to continue to build faculty participation in these meetings and discussions in order to best serve our students. In fact, one of our dig meeting presentations and discussions led by Rachel Baker inspired an event that we held last Friday called Career Choice and Your Voice. And so Rachel had highlighted how overwhelming everyday choices can be for the average person. And so we really need to consider the stress and pressures that come to our students when they're declaring a major, let alone their future career path. So it was a hybrid event, and we had about 220 students register for this event. Thank you to those in this room for making that happen, as well as participating in the event. It was jam-packed and included opportunity drawings for Bluetooth speakers and Apple AirPods, Panera, shaved ice, guest speakers, and an alumni student panel. We also had TVR's Jim Patrick and his students live stream the event on our YouTube page. I'll drop that link in just a second, as well as Lancer Radio made an appearance as well, thanks to Sarah Barker. And so the purpose of this event was to reintroduce career communities to PCC, along with all of the changes that have taken place, especially with our success centers and success coaches, as well as remind students they're not alone in their journey here at PCC. So it really put a face to the name of their resources. And we had representatives from each career community at tables in the quad to meet and greet with students and talk about some of their programs, showcase some of their projects. So that was a lot of fun. The event also included an opportunity for students to meet in small groups with their networks of care, which included the Freeman Center, success coaches, counselors. And so it was really exciting to see this work come to life. And we can't wait to continue this work with other events that serve our students. So we asked for feedback from students after this event, and we can't wait to implement that into our future events. In fact, we have one coming up for pre-finals, November 29th through December 3rd. We'd like to really focus this on mental health, as well as additional resources for each career community, like extended tutor hours, extended faculty office hours, coloring, and even therapy dogs. So all of our work is campus-wide. It's a campus-wide collaboration. So we'll continue to work with counselors, the Freeman Center, success coaches, success centers, as well as faculty and staff across the campus to continue to act as the glue of bringing these resources together for our students and connecting students with their necessary resources. So we'll be reaching out to faculty leads. We'd like to have 2 faculty leads per career community. Part of their role will be to share out our work with our DIG meetings to the PCC community, as well as enhance events on campus and develop and implement strategies to best serve our students. So thank you again so much for this space. I'd like to allow the rest of my time for any questions, and I will drop those links in the chat for everybody.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Bree Brody? Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. And thank you too, Dr. Friend. Appreciate it. Okay. Next we have, Safe Learning Environments Committee is an update by our very own Lindsay Ruiz. Lindsay, you have the floor.
Thank you. The Safe Learning Environment Committee has been meeting with Dr. Carrie Boland since May regarding her vision to transform PCC into a trauma-informed, healing-centered campus. We have discussed shared vision, programs, and support, and we are asking these questions. Number 1, how can policies, institutional, classroom, meetings, etc., be reviewed and revised from a healing lens? What questions need to be asked? Number 2, how to have a person-first culture of thinking. And number 3, what are the healing spaces on campus existing and potential? We have researched several, the other big piece of information that we have is that we have researched several independent contractors' trauma-informed healing center training certification programs and are currently most interested in Flourish Agenda, led by Dr. Sean Ginwright. We are examining how best to bring this training to campus with Dr. Boland. It will require budget, time, and commitment from administration, faculty, and staff. The other large piece is that we emailed Dr. Androjonas's office regarding the 2020 Campus Police Task Force update, and we received this information from Dr. Androjonas that Dr. Bush sent a short summary of the task force's work before he left in May, though it is not as comprehensive as expected, nor has Dr. Androjonas had much time to do anything with it. She said it's time for a follow-up task force meeting and is working with Alex Buckelhide on next steps. I actually have a request for future Senate agenda item to gather more questions, but I can bring that up at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Are there any questions for Professor Ruiz? Okay, thank you so much for bringing that, updating us on that. Okay, so now we have our Senate goals number 2 with Professor Amir Walker. And before we begin, we're going to ask our guests to not participate on in this activity. This is regarding our Senate goals. We're going to go into breakout rooms. You're welcome to stay in the main room, or if you need to leave and come back, that's fine too. This is a 20-minute activity. So Professor Walker, you have the floor.
Okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on. Okay, so in our group, we have our Senate goals, and as of right now, well, today we're going to be working on goal number 2. Hold on, let me set my timer so I don't go over. We're working on Senate goal number 2, as was described. Today we're going to revisit our anti-racist resolution that we passed this past spring of 2021, the Academic Senate voted to approve the Anti-Racist Resolution 21.1. There was a small group that worked on that. And again, as the larger group, we approved that resolution. Moving forward, though, we want to work on making that a policy based on what we described in our Senate goal number 2. Now, as you can see on the screen, we're moving down the list. We've already established our Social Justice Committee. So yay, we can check off one of our goals that we've completed as a group. And now we're moving on to goal number 2, and that is to turn the resolution into a policy. As you can see, that will make it official and go through the policy making process. And I put up the rest of the goals simply because if you look through the various goals, they all have a common thread of, well, most of them have a common thread of anti-racism. And so creating this policy will help us to move forward in that. Again, if you look through them, and these are all in the board docs, and they're also on our Senate website. So today we want to finalize or work towards finalizing the resolution so that we can then draft a policy and then ultimately bring it through the shared governance process, because that is the way that policy is developed on campus. Now, what's remaining in the resolution, and let me back up just a little bit. What is remaining in the resolution, in our anti-racist resolution 21.1, we did complete the resolution. However, we did not include any language as to what our resolve is. And so going forward, I just want to, as a group, want us to create resolve clauses for our resolution. And so a resolve clause, it tells the reader what action should be taken. So we're going to be putting actions to our whereas statements in our verbiage, and I'll share that in a second. Let's stop sharing for 1 second. And what that looks like is, let me share now. So currently, our 21.1 anti-racist resolution has plenty of whereases. There's, I believe, 11 total, right? And then there's a therefore, there's a general type statement. However, we want to include a series of resolve statements. Now, an example of a resolve statement, and this is going to be in the slide as well. If we look at the increasing diversity of faculty, they have whereases and then they have a resolve. And what you can notice in the resolve statement is it calls for a type of action, right? And something that is going to be implemented, something that's going to be participated in. And so this is what we want to add to our anti-racist resolution to make it an actionable thing. Okay, so I'm going to continue here. So again, back to this. If we look here, if there's some examples, each resolve clause must contain an actionable request, makes sense when read aloud, and should be only about a sentence in length, okay? Now, again, these are the examples I pulled from our increasing diversity faculty, and I'm going to put a link to this presentation in the chat because we as a group, yay, are going to create some resolve clauses for our resolution. So the way the activity is going to work is you will all be placed in a group, and you will locate the slide designated with your group number. So if you're in group 1, you'll work on slide number 1. You'll be able to edit. The link that I will give you editing privileges. You will review the anti-racist resolution items. I pulled them directly from the resolution on our website. And based on what we've been learning in our Senate goals and our liberatory consciousness readings, we want to start drafting resolve clauses based on the whereas items in the slides that you will see. Now, before we get started, I want to stop sharing. Are there any questions as to what we're doing? Now remember, you're able to, I will put the link in the chat and you will be able to go back and forward through the PowerPoint if you forget something or if you have a question about anything. Okay, so I believe that gives you sharing privileges. So if you could click on the link and see if you're able to access it. If there's an issue, let me know now, we can resolve it. Everybody got it? Are you able to access it anyway? No? Oh. Yes. Yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you all for the thumbs up. And so I'm going to share one more time. So just to give you an idea of what the slides will look like. So we'll have about 12 or so minutes. And so what's going to happen is you'll see the whereas items on the left. Now on the right, there are separate boxes for each whereas. However, as I discussed with my colleagues, you don't have to do one for each box. If you find a common theme, you can create something that sums up the gist of those 3 boxes, for example. However, if each box is typically, somewhat different, then you may want to create another one. Lastly, there's no pressure. We are just now starting to work on this. This is an ongoing process. So if you can write a resolve for all 3, great. If not, do what you can in your groups. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and last chance for questions. Okay. Dr. Lopez, if you can put everyone in their breakout rooms, that would be great. And you'll have about 10, 11 minutes.
Okay, can everyone go to their breakout groups? Oh, thank you. Even better. Okay, everyone, if you've been, no problem. You should go to your breakout group now. The one that you've been assigned. Thank you.
Hey, Gina?
Yes. Hi,
Or
Brian.
Dr. Lopez. I'm afraid
Gina's
I gotta take off right now. We have a family event. that I must attend right now. This is about as long as I had in me today anyway. So I was aware that it was there, but family duty calls and I got to get going a little bit early today, but thanks for the time. I'll catch up on the notes for what I've missed today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No one wants to come back.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time.
I know, but that's all the time I have.
We can revisit it.
Yes, we thank you all for your boisterous conversations. We will have more time to work on this because it's very important. Did anyone want to share out briefly about their group experience? Was it clear? Was it hard to do? Any suggestions for future? Yes, Lindsay.
We just realized we need a lot of time to talk about specifics. Like we're kind of looking at SLOs where we want to look at SPOs too. We want to look at the smaller, like how do we do this? How do we do that? So I think we really need to get into it. But we definitely, I think it's good to start looking at actions. Like what can we actually physically do?
Putting
So I
it
think we
into
got
action.
something good. I mean, you can take a look at it, but basically working to establish professional development and educational opportunities to
Yes,
foster increased awareness.
We will revisit this for sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Z?
Hi, should I share the slide?
No, you can just give me a brief overview of what you guys are, because the slide is open for anyone to view.
Oh, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so we, for the first, we were group number 1. The first resolution statement it had to do with people being unaware of or indifferent to systemic racism still ongoing. Our resolved a sort of sentence was something like PCC's faculty reaffirms the existence of systemic racism in the United States and commits to its dismantling to the fullest extent possible within our institution. And then we were kind of stuck on whether or not we wanted to call out the Board of Trustees, but so that may be in there, may not be in there. So yeah, that was
Thank
that
you.
one.
Yeah, thank you. John, John Tybert, did you have a quick something to say, or are you done?
Oh, just a clarifying question. Is this about faculty or students or both?
So the onus would be on the faculty in this case, right? We're not holding the student accountable. I would guess, and on this end, because we are academic senate, our actions, though, however, do in fact impact the students. So that is does that make sense?
Let me clarify. Yeah, it makes sense. I think my question needs more clarification. Are these resolutions to recruit, students or faculty?
So it's not to recruit per se. It's to make sure that any new policy or any new actions that are pushed through or developed on campus would have to come through an anti-racist lens. That is our ultimate goal. If you look at the rest of our Senate goals, it's permeated through there, that our goal is to just hold our campus accountable to make sure that when it creates or institutes anything, it will be through an anti-racist lens.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, that's all our time, but we will revisit it and appreciate your participation.
As do I. Thank you, everyone. We will revisit this in the spring, as well as some of our other Senate goals. Okay, so now we'll move on to item J, our consent items. There are not very many, so I think we can take them item by item. I would like to entertain a motion to appoint Kristen Kaz of English to Curriculum and Instruction. Do I have a motion? Okay, I saw John's hand go up first. So Professor Tyberg, Milan, will you second? Will you second the motion? Awesome. Okay. Is there any discussion, comments, or concerns? Okay, if not, I would like to approve this by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, hearing no objections, this item is approved. So yay for Kristen. Okay, item number J, number 4 is appointing Amy Corin to the statewide development team for psychology. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this appointment.
So moved, Terry Stoddard.
Thank you, Terry. Milan, is that a second? Awesome. Okay, if there, are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, then I'd like to approve this by unanimous consent. If there are no objections. Okay, then this is approved by unanimous consent. Congratulations, Amy. Okay, and the C&I committee has submitted as part of our board document, as part of our board packet, a memo recommending the discontinuance of graphic communication and technology and graphics courses. I'd like to entertain a motion to discontinue this program. Sheila Rose, is that a motion?
It is.
Do I have a second? Okay, Jose Castanon, is that your second?
Yes.
Awesome. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, Professor Z.
Hi, I'm not sure what this program is. I was looking at the agenda and I don't exactly see what it's about. So I just had a question as to what it is that we're discontinuing.
We're discontinuing the graphic communication technology there. We haven't had it for several years. This is a formality, but it does need to come through the academic senate for approval. It was a recommendation, no problem. Recommendation or the memorandum was from the C&I committee. Okay, Dr. Francoso.
Just a question for clarification. The graphics, communication, and technology department, this isn't the folks that are next to Pathways?
No.
Between Pathways and, okay, perfect, just making sure.
No, this is not graphic design.
Okay.
Yes, Professor Rigon.
I just wanted to clarify a little bit. So in the past, there were 2 different programs. One was called graphic communication, but was in reality it was more printing, silk print in particular. And then there was also a graphic design program within the design and arts. So there was a duplicate. And now some of the classes were incorporated into the art department. And so they are not 2 separate departments anymore.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, there is a motion on the floor to approve the discontinuance of this program. And I would like to approve it by unanimous consent if there are no objections. Seeing none, this program is discontinued. Thank you so much. Okay, and next, item number 6 is rank changes. The list was attached to our board docs. I would like to entertain a motion to approve this rank change. Was that you?
Terry Stoddard.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Stoddard. Do I have a second? Okay, Professor Guerrero. Second. Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns about this list? Seeing none, I'd like to approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, congratulations for those who are made a rank change. This is approved. Awesome. Okay, moving forward. Item K, are there any proposed future agenda items? Now, remember, this is for the spring. Yes, Lindsay Ruiz.
Yes, thank you. I would like the Safe Learning Environment Committee would like to request for a future Senate agenda item to gather more questions and concerns regarding the Campus Police Task Force and the role and responsibilities of campus police at PCC. We'd also like to request an update once the task force has met, if they have not yet already, and inquire if there remain opportunities for involvement from other representatives across campus. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any announcements? My only announcement is, remember, we have professional development the Friday before the spring semester starts, which is January 2nd. Also, remember Holiday Angels. It's a very important activity to help young children, some of our students in need. Also, oh, and Dr. Stevens, your hand is up.
Yes, hi, thank you, Dr. Lopez. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I just wanted to add on to what Dr. Olivo showed earlier and just make sure everybody is aware. If you have any students who need a holiday meal kit, this would include a turkey and all the side fixings that can come canned, box, and things of that nature. We do have those available for up to 58 students at this time. I have 2 students that have already reached out to me. So if you have any students, please have them email lancerpantry@pasadena.edu. lancerpantry@pasadena.edu. And just identify that they need a meal kit, and then we'll be available to give those out tomorrow, which is Tuesday, November 23rd, and Wednesday, November 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Where would this be, Dr. Stevens?
Oh, thank you for asking that. This will be in the excuse me, in the CC building, room 211. So CC 211, they'll be able to pick it up during normal business hours. So come the earlier the better, please.
Awesome. If there are no more announcements, I'm willing to entertain them. Oh, I don't know if you're jumping the gun or if you had an announcement.
Announcement.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a general one for all our faculty. Performing Arts Division, for the very first time in almost 2 years, is offering live concerts. We have this last week and next week as well. Lots of concerts for you. Just check the Performing Arts Division site for these. The kids they've been on campus in mass all semester long. The jazz band's playing behind me, by the way. Look, they really need our support. So please check the website, choose multiple concerts, and come hear these wonderful kids play and sing. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. They sound great already. Okay. Well, do we have any other announcements? And I love the hearts going up for our students. That's awesome. Okay, then I'm willing to entertain a motion to adjourn. Milan, is that a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. Thank you, Professor Stoddard. Any objections? Then we are adjourned. Thank you for an amazing semester. Thank you all so much. I love the Academic Senate. You guys, this is awesome senators, awesome colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez.
Have a great break. Have a great holiday.
I hope everybody does too.
Peace and love,
Thank you.
everyone.
Be safe.
Bye.
Be safe.
Peace and love.
Don't eat too
Likewise.
much.
Okay, so let me put Gita in the waiting room. Benita in the waiting room. John. Let me put John in the waiting room. Okay. Oh, I have a clue. Hi, Roger. Okay,
Hi.
you got me.
How are you, Gina? Just
I'm
wanted to, good. And it was great to see you, by the way, at the transgender flag.
That was
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I missed the first 15 or 20 minutes. Josh
fine.
Fleming couldn't be here, so I apologize. So just an update about if anything happened with the student field trips and excursions. Nothing happened.
It wasn't brought back to the academic senate. However, it was approved as is in college council. The academic senate executive committee, which is a part of college council, we all abstained from the vote because it hadn't been approved through academic senate. So the way it is now, it is the way that it's going to go forward. We'll see if they'll bring it back to academic senate. They said there's room for discussion. However, as it stands today, it is how it was when it left the senate.
And it will take place then as of spring 2022, correct?
Yes,
Next semester.
yes. But we will continue to have discussions and try to make changes as much as possible.
And then I just need a presentation made to my specific division, because as I mentioned in the last meeting, this really impacts performing arts a lot. And we weren't really informed of this beforehand. So it kind of feels like, whoa,
Right.
Freight train happening. So I can't explain everything to my colleagues. It would be great to have, someone there just to come to our next division meeting just to inform us all. And that
Here's
would
what
be,
I would think that would be Jessie Wayne. This was her AP. She knows the most about it. And I think that it'd be great for her to hear those concerns firsthand.
yeah. Okay, that was it. I just needed a little information.
No problem.
All right,
Thank you
so
for
much,
being
Sheila.
here and have a great holiday.
You too.
Okay.